You've watched a lot of Eagles football in your lifetime. Is this the best Eagles defense that you've I want to be careful when I word this to you. Is this the greatest? Is this okay. All right.
91. That Reggie, Jerome, Clyde, that to me, that's still the most dominant defense I've ever seen. Most dominant. However, this defense plays on a much better team. You know what I'm saying? This is the best team, best pure Eagles team I've ever seen. When you count offensive, defense, they're the best. This is the best Eagles team I've ever seen. But that Reggie, Clyde, I mean, they were so dominant. But I always envisioned that defense being in the Super Bowl looking like the way this defense looked. This is what I pictured it would have looked like when I used to imagine what those guys would do.
Yeah, the thing about those 90s teams, they just didn't have the opportunity to showcase on the big stage. They didn't have the opportunity.
They didn't have the offense. I mean, that 91 defense, I've never seen a defense where they come on the field and the offense goes backwards every series. And they go backwards. It was like, and they had no offense. So they would be on the field like 45 minutes a game. And they would have to give up like 8 points, 7 points, 9 points. It was always like under 14 points or something. They were dominant. I mean, but this defense, they're younger. And when you look at what they've already accomplished, they've accomplished more. And they play on a team that's a much better team. This is by far, and it's not even close, this is by far the best Eagles team I've ever seen. Best.
Okay, so how about this? Let's try to draw a line here from the Kelly Green era to the Midnight Green era then, right? Because, two different brands of football, two different ownership groups, right? Let's try to draw a distinct line from past to present. Is this the greatest or the best Midnight Green era defense you've ever seen?
Yes.
Okay. Because I think that's
I would put it two. I would put it two. The best defenses I've ever seen. I would put it two. But
overall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But they've played in more meaningful games. Like they've already accomplished more. So I have to make sure I give that defense credit. I mean, Reggie by himself is probably a top 10 greatest defensive player to ever have played.
Probably top 5.
Yeah, and you look like Reggie would, I look at it like, Jerome Brown, to me, him and Jalen Carter looks like he's the best looking defensive tackle I've seen since Jerome Brown. So to me, he's got that ability. Clyde Simmons, people forget, like Clyde would have 19 sacks a year, 16 sacks. And he was opposite of Reggie. So, I mean, it was a scary defense at a different time, but they never had an offense like this. So, this defense is what I always thought that defense would do in a Super Bowl.
Wow, man. Let's talk about Jaylen Hurts, the quarterback, right? We've waxed poetic about this defense and, the coaching job. And, Jaylen Hurts deserves all the flowers in the world. And I wanted to save him, for, this part of the conversation because Jaylen Hurts has really experienced a lot in his young NFL career. He's never really had continuity from a coaching perspective as far as OCs go. He's constantly been disparaged and belittled because of the way he decides to play the game. He's somebody that they thought would have to change his position, or as a matter of fact, they asked him if he would change his position going into the NFL so he can get on the football field. They tried to say that he would be a career backup if he's lucky. They said he couldn't read defenses. You can never build a team around this guy. This guy can never lead your franchise.
Yeah.
And all he did was keep his head down, work on his craft, steady the ship, be a leader on and off the football field, will go to 2 Pro Bowls, be a second-team All-Pro, be a Burt Bell Award winner, go to win 2 NFC championship games, be the winningest quarterback from his draft class, go to 2 Super Bowls, get a Super Bowl ring, and now is a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
Please, I need you to break down your feelings, your thoughts on Jalen Hurts' performance in that game, and your thoughts and feelings on Jalen Hurts overall.
Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, overall, is I think the most underrated player in the National Football League, because even when he goes and he wins, they act like, you know, he doesn't do it himself, or he can't pass, or he can't do this, he can't do that, or if they have any success, it's because of everybody else. I think he's the most underrated player in the league. I think he's a stone cold killer. I think he's got that Kobe Bryant, you know what I mean, gene in him. I do. I think he's a stone cold killer. I think he's the kind of guy that is always going to play better the more pressure in a game. You know, I always felt like that. I've been saying for the last 3 years that he'll win at least 2 Super Bowls when it's all said and done, and I really believe that. Now, hell, it may end up being more than that, but I think Hurts. You know, here's the thing: the way the league is, right? Everybody wants to talk about passing numbers, pass this, pass right. They focus so much on passing. Okay, look at a guy like Herbert, right? He throws 3 interceptions all season long. Gets to the playoffs in one game, throws 4 interceptions. Okay, and you know the way I see it is regular season football is not playoff football. They're 2 different type of games. Jalen Hurts plays playoff football all year.
All year long. Oh, I like that. I
All
like
year.
that. No one's defined it like that. I like that. Keep going.
Yeah, he plays it all year long. And you know, when you get to the playoffs, you can see how things change. Teams try to run the ball more. Look at all the quarterback and look at their passing numbers in the playoffs. They all come down. They have less attempts, right? They try to play more of the style the Eagles play. Jalen Hurts plays winning football, playoff football all year long. These guys, they get to the playoffs and then they try to play playoff football. Jalen Hurts is already doing it. So to me, you know, because he doesn't look a certain way that these, you know, media guys want him to look, they criticize. But the truth of the matter is the adjustments from the quarterbacks on other teams are they have to become more like Jalen Hurts in the playoffs, while Jalen Hurts is consistently like that all year long.
Wow. So break down what you saw in that game from him. I mean, the dude played out of his mind. Remember, Saquon Barkley got bottled up relatively early in that game, and he really didn't affect the game in the way we thought he would. But I would argue Saquon Barkley affected that game significantly in pass pro, picking up the blitz. I think he had 90 yards in total offense. He had 31 total touches. Again, he didn't have too many explosive runs. I think his longest run of the day was about maybe 10 or 11 yards, if I'm not mistaken. But Jalen Hurts goes 17 for 22, completes over 70% of his passes, 221 passing yards, averages 10 yards an attempt, pushing the ball down the field regularly, 2 passing touchdowns. The one interception that came off of when it was a blown block.
Right.
But you can kind of look at it like a glorified punt. But again, 17 for 22, completes over 70% of his passes, 221 passing yards, averages 10 yards an attempt, 2 passing touchdowns. Only takes 2 sacks, a 119.7 passer rating. On top of that, he gave you 11 carries for 72 rushing yards, average over 6 yards an attempt, and a rushing touchdown. Longest rush of the day, 17 yards. I mean, the dude was electric. Just break down your observations from that game, your favorite moments from the game in terms of his performance. Just let me in on. Let me in your mind here, man.
I mean, my favorite pass is that Devontae Smith bomb, right? To kind of seal it. I love that play. Although I think that play was all like I think he could have put up way bigger numbers because I think that play action was there all game, and it took him a while to use it. But I think the pass to Jahan Dotson early in that game. Well,
Ooh.
actually, I want to go. Let me go back. The pass to AJ Brown that they called pass interference. My words in that stream were, okay, that's a bad call. I hate that they called that, but you guys got a problem because Jalen Hurts is making throws like that. You've got a problem.
Fourth and
And
500. 4th and 5.
yeah, that's when he knew he was going to be sharp. But I just not. It just doesn't surprise me that he played at played good at a high level. I mean, people don't understand. Even after the Super Bowl, people are still like, well, if Dak Prescott was there, he would have won the Super Bowl. If this quarterback was on that team, they would have won. It's just not true. He has played 2 Super Bowl games where he's played Kansas City Chiefs, where nobody else can beat him, and he's had his best games. So to me, in the biggest moments, he's clutch. To me, he looked very composed, very calm, very ready to go, very Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan-esque. That's what he looked like to me.
Man,
It's not just one play. It's just the way he carries himself, man. It's the whole thing,